All right.
Hello.
Hey, hi. How are you? Good to see
Hi.
everybody. Welcome to another fun-filled episode of This is the Future.
Unfortunately,
Fucking right. How you doing, man?
I'm doing just fine. Doing pretty good. How about you? How's old Tony G?
I'm well. I'm a little sleepy. There's shit in
Oh,
boxes. There's shit that still needs to be put in boxes. So I'm a little tired,
I'm
but it's
tired.
cool, man. I'm good. That's what it's supposed to be.
Uh,
Tomorrow's the day where I find out if this box I rented is gonna hold all my shit. Otherwise, things are just gonna start flying into the dumpster, which could be fun for whoever's around. Like, don't eat that one.
right. Well, you trying to like make sure you have you think you might have like too much stuff or something like that?
Yeah, I think it's gonna be close. It's okay.
If you're just watching this for the very first time, just so you know, Tony is moving cross country pretty soon, a couple weeks, right?
Next week.
Next week.
This
Yeah,
is today Tuesday?
yeah, November, Tuesday. Yes, today's Tuesday.
Right. Tuesday the 37th. Yep, that's what I thought.
Yeah.
Um, yeah, this time next week I should be on the road with a screaming cat.
It's the name of that should be the name of our new band, Tony.
What?
On the
On
road
the road
with the
with
screaming cat. Yeah,
on the road with the screaming cat?
it's a new band.
Well, we can at least name the episode.
Yeah.
Oh
Uh,
man. No, I just been scurrying about. It's been I don't know what it is, but I know a lot of people don't move away from family very often, especially not at my age unless they get relocated.
right.
I'm doing this willingly, for those of you who don't know. As Alex said, newcomers to the show. My kid lives out west. His name's Alex. He's right there.
Hi,
My
Dad.
it's my son. I got him that shirt. It says corn and peach cobbler on it. His two
Duh.
favorite things. But anyway, moving back to Oregon. And I got to tell you, it's quite a rush because once Google knows that you're doing something, they start sending you articles on that location.
Ah,
And all I'm getting is bad articles about Portland, but
sure.
but it doesn't know which Portland. So I found out that Portland, Maine is just as fucked up as Portland, Oregon. That's no shit.
Really?
I'm not kidding. I was reading it and I'm like, oh my God, like 5 shootings last night. And I'm like, wait, I don't know that neighborhood. And I kept looking and looking and I was like, Maine, hey, I'm not going there. Google, stop scaring me. And it's
Yeah.
like, then I look at Portland, Oregon, it's like cops are running around with a whole bunch of Narcan. You can go, if you see someone OD'd on the street, you should give them Narcan. You. I'm like, me? I don't know. I'm not going. All right, I'm staying in the burbs. Fuck this. I'm not even there yet, and I'm not going to the city.
Yeah. Yeah, I know someone that last week had to administer Narcan and CPR.
Just somebody? Just a
I
person?
know two of my friends that had to do that to somebody ODing on the street
Fuck
because
me.
you
How
just
do you
walk.
know? Where do you. Where do you get this stuff?
Most most businesses, in fact, I mean a lot. I mean, at the place I work, there's like Narcan, like in the first aid kit, because like in most kitchen, there's like a first aid kit, and they've been putting Narcan in them lately. And so you go into most stores and go, you got, like Narcan, like they a lot of times will have it. Not every place, but a lot of places will have them because there's people ODing all over the street. It's just how it is. And I don't know.
No, that's it. It is what it is, man. It's all good.
It's hard for me if you want me to be honest, because I do have a part in me that just goes, fuck them. But then I have a part of me that's more realistic that I think I would, because that shit took my brother, or opiates took my brother, and so I have like a weird, like a soft spot in my head, which is over here, but then there's another soft spot in my heart that like is like, oh, you should save these people. So it's hard because like we're all people. We all have every emotion inside of us all at once, and there's parts that are like fuck them, and there's parts like no, help them. I'm just being honest. That's
No,
just life.
I agree. I'm right on the
I
fence
think a
too.
lot of people, won't admit that, but it is. It's just, you're like, we're people, and these thoughts and feelings just come flying into us,
It's
So,
just crazy that I mean, I visited the city like not even a year ago, and it's already sounding worse than it was.
mhm.
I'm like, oh, all right.
It's weird because like I see it when I leave my neighborhood and when I like go near like my work, there's like some parts that are pretty kind of fucked up, and then you go downtown, it's really fucked up, like really bad. And then you go down, and then there's even parts of downtown that are honestly not that bad too. But there's pockets of the city of the town that aren't bad at all. Like where I live, it's gotten better since the pandemic. You know, you go to any major street of near where I live, that you'll see some camps and shit. But yeah, it'll get bad if you're looking for it for sure.
I was
Yeah.
just thinking about like just riding the Max through downtown, man. Shit.
Oh yeah, you're fine.
It's kind of like you're just like looking out the window. Like,
Yeah.
if you look to the left, you'll see some fucked up shit. If you look to the right, you'll see more.
Yeah.
Just look straight ahead. You'll be fine.
Yeah.
I don't know, man. It's a bummer. Like I think of that's not the only city it's happening to. It's just a shame because Portland, like downtown Portland was amazing. Like when we lived there in comparison, shit was fucking it was great. It was a beautiful it's a beautiful city, but everyone's closing their doors and I understand why. It's just like it's not like in Philly they have a neighborhood like they have a whole area of Philly that is called Kensington. Everyone knows you stay the fuck out of there. That's
Mhm.
just it. That's just like it's just like but Portland is a whole city. The whole thing. It's like, oh man, the whole I mean, it's one thing if it's in one area, that's one, it's manageable, but if you're fucking up
That's
there's
the
no
thing.
businesses downtown, like if the city's like can't do its job, if it can't make money, that's a fucking problem.
Right.
Then you
And the thing
don't have a
about
city, then you
Portland,
don't have any funding, then you don't have any fucking Narcan.
that's the thing about Portland is it is all over the city, but there's parts where like if I don't leave like let's say a mile and a half to 2 mile radius of my neighborhood, like that
Mhm.
here where I live, and then mile and a half this way, you don't really see it. You do if you go to like a certain side, like one of the major streets, but like it's gotten a lot better over here, but it's like there's little pieces, little like Hansel and Gretel bread trails everywhere. And then you go to downtown, and then it's like that's where the real loaf of bread is, where you were following the bread trails. Like that's where it is.
We found the bakery.
Yeah, yeah, and it's a fucked up bakery. You don't want to go there. The bakers never sleep. The bread is really moldy, and you walk by the loaf of bread, and it wants money from you. It's really weird.
Man, why don't the fucking people making fentanyl pills just fuck with everyone and turn them into vitamins?
Well,
And then all of a sudden, the people that are smoking 50 fentanyl pills a day are like, fuck, I feel good. I feel great. I want more of that shit. And they're just like, okay, more vitamins. Like,
well, it is
hook
kind
them
of
up
like
with some
that.
B12.
It's a lot like
But
that.
good stuff. Why can't the dealers just be like, fuck them? They're already buying the pills. Let's just not give them drugs anymore. Let's just give them vitamins. See what happens. We'll crush up some Flintstones. Let's do it. I mean, really, be like, he died of vitamin C. He did. He really, you just can't smoke 50 vitamin C pills in a day. It's just not a thing. We
Yeah,
told him too, but he didn't listen. I don't know, man. It's just like, dude, you don't have to make this. Just stop making it. Fuck off. How about that? Assholes.
yeah. I wish
Shit.
it was. I wish they would. I wish it was that easy. And it sucks because
I know. It's just a
it
bummer.
sucks because like it's going into other drugs too. Like I have done cocaine. I do not do cocaine, and I haven't done it in a long time. I was never a cokehead or addicted to it of any kind. It was just like, oh, it's there, we're at a party, but like, and I never really liked it. I never liked it. I like cheeseburgers way more, and that's about it. Like, so, but I do know people. They're not, and a lot of those people aren't like super close to me anymore. But a lot of them will like recreate, like like how I did it, like a party drug. You're at a party and someone has coke and there's a toilet seat. You, I know people that are like that. They're good people. They're just partying or whatever. They are putting fentanyl in the coke now.
Why?
Fentanyl is going into coke,
Why?
and fentanyl is very dangerous, especially if you're not used to doing it. You're just dead, you know. And fentanyl was going into certain like prescription drugs, like fake script drugs, like like on the street, oxycodone or whatever.
It's just whatever they can get their hands on. They're just faking it and selling the pills.
They're putting, and I know someone who lived in Canada that passed away from that sort of thing, and it was just didn't know. You don't know what hit you, so it sucks. And I know this is this is a bleak way to start the show, but
We're halfway through it now. We'll have some sunny dick jokes on the end, folks. Hang in there.
yeah. So yeah, come on down to Portland, everybody.
It's a circus on every corner. Balloons for the kids. Fuck.
Yeah.
No.
Um,
Do they
but
even
yeah,
have like the Saturday market or anything, or is it all gone?
no, I think that still happens.
All right. I mean, shit.
Yeah,
God damn
it's
it.
honestly, I'm not going to sugarcoat anything, but Portland isn't. You'll see, Tony, when you get here, and it's not that bad. It really isn't. It's, you know what it is? It's finally becoming a city. It didn't used to be like a city. You know how people a city, like it's kind of dirty and fucked up. Like you go down to like like New York or LA or Philly, or like it's like, oh, you're in a fucking city now. This is like it's turned into that. So it seems bad, but in reality, it's kind of almost normal. And it sucks that there's bad shit going on, but like it's really, it's not as bad as like the news and stuff people make it out to be. It is bad. It's not great. It's not great at all. But it's not a fucking war zone, It's just Portland's turning into a real fucking major city. Like it's acting like one. That's it. That's how I feel about it.
I like that. Man, this fucking guy. Put this guy in politics. Let's go. Tell your
That's
friends.
a very bad idea. But
I'll
let's
I'll be your I'll be your number two or whatever. I don't mind. Like
I don't mind.
I'll be your lifeguard. How about that? I'll wear like a red shirt with
A lifeguard?
and flip flops and board shorts. And anyone comes near you, would just beat the shit out of them with a flotation device. I'm like, no.
There's no water nearby at all. There's no water.
Alex, there's a land of bridges. There's water under those bridges, but still, people are they're used to security guards. If you run for Congress, I will be your lifeguard. I will guard your life. There you go. And if the funny thing is, if you were at a pool, you would drown. I'm not very good at recovery, like underwater. That would be ironic. Be like, you're the lifeguard. Be like, it's the one thing I can't do. Sorry, we need a real lifeguard to get in there and get him. I can't get him out of the pool. Sorry. But no, I like what you said there, man. That's valid. So here's a question to that. Do you feel that in major cities like Philadelphia, it is like you said, it is a city. Most places are nice. You can walk around and not really worry about it, but you're always on alert. Do you think that people in Portland are going to start or have already kind of getting that, like, not just like a harder edge, just kind of like looking over their shoulder all the time? That's how city people act. You know what I mean? They're like, they don't smile as much. They don't say hello as much. They just keep their fucking, mind their business unless you talk to them first. Do you think it's gonna that Portland? You think Portland is starting to be like that a little bit more hard?
I think, I mean, I have without really even noticing it, but I think a lot of people have. especially people that have lived here for like
Yeah,
10
20
plus years.
years and
Yeah.
saw it good and now see it like not as good. To
Yeah.
be like, I've talked to people on the phone who live there and they've been like, we've been here for 30 years. We're trying to stick it out, that kind of thing.
Let's put it this way. I'll answer your question with this. I know people who had never had a gun who got a gun.
That's what then it is turning into a real city.
Mhm.
Because when you and I lived there, to be honest with you, you could it just felt like really free. It
Mhm.
was temporary, obviously, but it was really I had a great I mean, it still had its stuff, but not like this. We didn't worry at night when we walked. We lived downtown together for a few months. We didn't worry about it at all.
Right.
We just walked. So yeah, that's fine. I mean, you're right. It's a city. You watch your fucking back. The
Mhm.
thing that bums me out is that they're saying like at the Arlene Schnitzer concert hall, right where we used to live, they're not they're not really getting as many people in the shows or anything. It's definitely affecting attendance. I
Mhm.
can understand that. I wouldn't want a fucking Bruce Wayne story to happen to me and my family.
Right.
But I mean, that's what it's starting to look like. It's starting to look like, I mean, that's fine. I mean, it is what it is. You watch your fucking back. I just hope the shows keep coming. I hope the city can like thrive and not be all boarded up and shit and look sketch. I mean, that sucks.
Right. Yeah, I mean it definitely is starting to have that vibe. Like I was like getting something out of my car in a part here in Portland, obviously. I was getting something out of my car, and all of a sudden this lady, like not a fentanyl user, not a homeless person, no nobody, just it's a normal lady, came walking up to me and started talking to me like she knew me. And I was like, oh hi, yeah, yeah. And then I saw this cretin, this maniac, yeah, this fucking
No, no, no.
dirty, kind of had dried blood on his face, and he was high and was wearing a fur coat that had like just dirt and shit all over it. And that thing was trying to talk to her. And I was like, oh, that's why you're talking to me. You're acting like you know me. So this thing will leave you alone. And then that thing just eventually like kind of like walked by, you know. And she's like, thank you. I'm like, oh yeah. I thought you were weird at first, but now I get what's going on now. She's just like, yeah, you didn't look crazy or threatening. I'm like, damn it.
In most places you do. That's what's funny about Portland. This is where you shine.
Yeah, I was like, God damn
You
it.
really could be mayor, I'm telling you.
I said that to her too. She's like, you don't look, you looked, good. I was like, God, I was like, damn it. And she started laughing. um, but yeah, no, like in that, like, I could see how that could be like a normal thing anywhere, and it could happen like that situation, but I just never had that really happen. And I was like, yeah, I think people are more on alert, and you have to be. It's one of those things where you people walk this rope of being like, no, nothing's fucked up, everything's fine. These people are fine, they're fine. And then you have to be like, no, homeless people are cool, but there's a difference between people that live in a tent and that people that shit on the wall and leave needles all over the place. There's a difference. And
Yeah.
I don't even hate those people. It's just you have to be careful. You do.
Well, and as like you said though, it's becoming a city. It's not a fantasy land like it was 10 years ago when I lived there, when it was
Yeah.
just like we're all having fun working 20 hours a week and doing whatever the hell we want. It's like, yep, that's over. And the
Yeah.
people that were doing that have either stayed there and committed and got and figured it out or they left. So, what I think will be interesting, usually when people live in a harder city, their sense of humor becomes darker.
Mhm.
I
Right.
like that. What can we talk about now? Any fucking thing we want within bounds. I like that. That's the one thing you talk about the shit you deal with, and if you're dealing with tough shit in your town, your humor becomes darker. It's just the way it is. So hey, rock on, man. You should be telling the truth. So fuck it.
Right.
Hey, did you listen to this story about downtown Portland? This is some shit that anyone should be worried about. From 22 stories up, from inside a brand new building, someone set off a shotgun and sent panes, like several panes of glass out into the city. 22 stories, just showering down, dude. That's fucking crazy.
Wait. Back up. Hold on. Are you
Okay.
saying somebody from inside of a building shot? like took a shotgun and shot a window.
Shot out a window and several panes in Portland, Oregon, I believe, not Portland, Maine, Portland, Oregon. Shot a window out of a brand new building from the inside of the building, 22
Cool.
stories up, sending glass down. That's fucking crazy. Just imagine. I mean, that we got what did we get thrown on us one day? Ice or some like we were. I
Oh,
don't
it's
know.
just like a water balloon filled with
Yeah, right. I mean, but fuck,
heat.
that's another reason to be paranoid. You're like, ah.
Yeah, well, you just don't go downtown unless you really. That's
But that could happen. It's just so random. Like, how many people are up there with shotguns? Why are you up there with a shotgun? Were you bird hunting? Like, let me get this glass out of the way. Like, all right, bring on the geese.
you were trying to find a nice new clean window to shoot at. Doesn't that sound fun? Look at this hat. Look at this hat. It sounds fucking fun to me.
I'm telling you, somebody invited someone over to show them the new building. They brought their shotgun just because they got done hunting for the day. They're up there, and then they're like, "Hey, man, it's nice up here, but can we open a window? It's kind of hot. They haven't installed air conditioning yet. But like, you can't open a window at 22 stories. Want to bet? Bang! And then now we have air conditioning. Holy shit!
I didn't hear about the story you're telling me. I didn't hear about it, but yeah, I mean, shit happens. Glass happens. I don't know.
So I would just like to say the first half hour of this show has been an unfortunate event.
Yeah, I was just thinking about that just now. I was like,
It's an unfortunate topic.
I need to tell you, like Tony, like literally like about 45 seconds ago, I was like, all right, ask Tony if he has an unfortunate topic. And I was like, wait. And it has been for about 25 minutes.
He opened with an unfortunate topic.
It's been unfortunate the whole time. So we're good.
We
That's
finally found our rhythm in the show. All right. Just
that's the
negativity for 45 minutes. Here we go. No,
yeah.
it's actually, I'll be honest with you. Like, that's what's in my head right now. I'm packing all my things. I'm going out there to be a grandpop, to be near my kid. Very excited about that. Happy to be out in Oregon again. Happy to be walking around the woods, go to the coast. I've got my plans. I know the things I want to do. I'm happy about all that. But when I'm looking things up, like looking to move, looking for apartments, Google searches your shit and they're like, "Oh, you're interested in Portland." And that's why I mentioned the joke about, wait a minute, what Portland? Oh shit, thought it was twice as bad as it was.
Mhm.
But that's what I'm going through right now. I'm getting ready to move, and the internet's like, here's more reasons you shouldn't go, and here's a couple more. And did you know about this? You're like, Jesus. All right, all right. I'm still coming, motherfucker. I'm nuts. I'm running in. Screw it.
I saw a sticker on like a bike rack or a pole or something. I was walking down the street and it just a sticker, a black sticker with white writing. It just says, "Don't move to Portland. It sucks." And I was just like, "That's kind of funny."
I want one. I'm gonna make one that says I just moved to Portland. It sucks.
Yeah.
Fuck that. Well, it's funny. Usually they made those stickers because they didn't want you to move to Portland, like because it was cool. Now it's like someone's being honest. They're like, "Listen, I care. Don't move here."
Yeah,
Like,
don't move here. It's crazy.
I want to move. I just can't. Can't find any boxes. Oh my goodness.
Yeah.
So how
Um,
you been, man?
I've been good, just shooting out windows.
Went
Movie.
hunting last week. Went to my buddy's 22nd story apartment.
That wasn't me. It was a joke.
Alex, I'm gonna go visit Alex in court.
Yeah, this is recorded. I know I look like I shoot windows out, but I didn't this
He doesn't
time.
have. I don't even
Um,
think you have any weapons. I don't know.
I, um, yeah, it's been good. I got a haircut yesterday. This is the first like real haircut I've gotten since the pandemic, and this is the second real haircut I've gotten since Callie and I have been together. I don't get real haircuts. I either like shave my head or it grows out. Right.
Mhm.
I'm either like long hair or short hair and just in between. So I got a haircut. And I sat down in the chair and the lady's like, "Well, what kind of haircut you want?" And like typical guy fashion, just not knowing what a haircut is or what it's called or what things are. I was like, well, this is like my favorite hat, and I like wearing this hat like probably like 80% of the time, and you know, it's kind of a big head, and this hat's a little small if I have a lot of hair, and so like if I have like longer hair, the hair comes out like this. I have to pull it back, and she's like, "No, I see that." So I was like, but I was like, I like it when it's longer in the back, you know, I like the way it looks. So I was just like, take a little off the top, take like a two, like the like the trimmer here, and then kind of leave the long in the back. And she's looking at me in my eyes, but through the mirror, and she's like, "So you want a mullet?" And I'm like,
Yep.
"Yeah, yeah,
Yeah. Oh no.
I do. I want one." She says, "I hate mullets." She's like, I hate cutting people's hair in the mullet." And I was like, well,
Today's the day.
today's the day. I was like, well, I don't know what I said. I think I just said, well, I still want that though. Can I have that? So I got a mullet. Okay. Pretty cool.
Looks good, man.
Um, when I was yeah, not bad. Uh, during the pandemic, the lockdown, I shaved my head into a mullet a couple of times. Not this well or anything. Like, I just like took the flippers and went like that. I did that like 2 or 3 times. So
As soon as you took that hat off, I just heard that song, "Guitars and Cadillacs,
oh yeah.
hillbilly music." Like, "Oh, that's Alex, there he is."
No, I feel like I look like a bully, like from like I don't know, like 1985, like in high school. I feel like I look like a bully.
O'Doyle rules!
Yeah, like, look at that. Pretty cool. And then but she also left this little flippity flop here. Like I didn't ask for that, but she had left that. Like I don't know, whatever. I'm gonna wear a hat the majority of the time anyway. So, but
I love the fact that she told you she hates the hairstyle you chose right before she does it.
yeah, she did a
Great,
good job.
should be
Yeah,
quality work.
she did a good. It's not like she did a shitty job, and she actually was like, you know what, looks pretty good.
She was
I was like,
surprised.
you know what? It's because I make it look good.
That's right.
And she's like, okay.
All about the symmetry in your face, sir.
She was just like, give me your money and get the fuck out of here.
Last time Alex he got kicked out of Supercuts. There it
Yeah.
is. That's
Um,
funny. A mullet.
yeah. I didn't go in there thinking about getting a mullet. It's just like I was describing how I like to look like when I look at myself wearing this hat, aesthetically, I'm like, oh, cool, it's short here. I don't have all this hair coming out, but it's still long. I was like, I like that. And then she's like, you want a mullet? I'm like, yes. Yes, I do.
I mean, whenever they cut my hair, that always looks good when they finish it. That's the only time that it looks good. Then it
Mhm.
turns into a fucking chia pet. And that's
Yeah.
it. And there's nothing else to it. So just the Italian chick that cuts it, she's like, "Oh, you this look nice. It look good for you. You style this way." And I'm like, yeah, that looks great." And I took a shower and I came home and I was like, "Fuck, we're back to this. How'd that happen so
Yeah.
fast?"
You
I'm
look
like,
like
you
a
know what? Just do this. Just get to this as quick as you can. That's all we're gonna do anyway.
you look like an exotic bird or something.
Oh,
Yeah.
ah. Out of
Like the
work,
birds of
bro.
paradise. You ever seen those? The birds of paradise, like the ones that like all like come out and they're like doing their mating dances, and they have like a blue stripe here and all these like blue antennas, and they're like, yeah, your hair looks like that.
Thanks, man. I'm going for the pigeon.
You look great. You look
Thanks,
great.
man. Cockatoo.
Oh, fucking cockatoo.
Oh my goodness.
But yeah, got a mullet. Have a corn t-shirt. Got a corn t-shirt. Pretty tight. You
Yeah,
look tight.
what spawned this?
Oh, just a coworker. Um, okay, so this is what happened. So two of my coworkers, they're married, the bar manager and the owner. They're married, they both work there, and it was the owner, my friend's birthday. And for each other's birthday, like we have gotten each other's shirts before, I believe. And so I got him a Pantera shirt. And I kind of had this, like, when I was buying it for him, I kind of had this weird thing. I was like, does he already have this shirt? He might. Fuck. So I already bought him it. So I bought him another Pantera shirt. So I bought two, and I was like, if I give this to him and he doesn't say I already have this, then that means I have a Pantera shirt for myself, right?
Right.
You know, I'm gonna keep the second one. So his wife was there. It was after work. I don't think she worked that day. She was just there, and she was a little buzzed. And I was showing her. I was like, "See, I see the other shirt." Like, I told her that story. I was just like, "Yeah, now it's mine or whatever." And she was like, "Did you get it for me?" Yeah. And I'm like, "No, it's mine." She's like, "Thanks." And so she took it, and I was like, and then I was just like, "Yeah, fuck it, you can have it. I don't give a shit." So I just gave it. So she had it, and then a couple days later, I was like, "You stole that shirt from me, right?"
Right.
She's, "No, you gave it to me." I was like, "No, this is what happened. Is that from me? Thanks." She's like, "Oh, I'm sorry. Do you want it back?" I'm like, "No, you gotta have it." But my birthday's in a couple of months. Get me a corn t-shirt. And then so she did.
Oh,
That's how I
very
got
nice.
it.
Nice. The story of Alex's shirt.
Right.
Too bad you can't just put on the bottom first 2 albums.
Yeah. Well, it's more of like, for me, it's the first album. There's a couple songs on Life is Peachy, the second album. And then like Issues is like funny to me. It's like not a great album, but it's funny. So I guess I like it in that way. And then Follow the Leader, the one that Freak on the Leash is on.
Yeah.
A lot of good songs on that, but there's also like half of it isn't good.
Is
So
that the one where him and Fred Durst go back and forth?
maybe Ice Cube is on that song or on that album.
Yeah,
Ice
that
Cube.
was their really big album, Got the Life, that was yeah. God,
Yeah.
it's weird to talk about those albums because they were freaking huge. That was when Total Request Live was on MTV, and they showed, like, the first 2 minutes of that video 1,000 times a day.
Isn't that funny how like back like, late 90s and early 2000s, like that was popular music. That was gold record music. That was like, you know, Warner Brothers fucking, you got $1 million now, you're a fucking, you know, that music. Like, are you ready? This guy's
Yeah,
fucking
that
weird.
Kid Rock,
Yeah, Kid Rock, System of a Down. Like, you listen to System of a Down now? It's the craziest music I've ever heard.
but
And then
those
that was,
videos were on at 3 o'clock in the afternoon when he got out of school. Like,
yeah. And um, and now I also wear, I have to be honest, but I like wearing a Corn shirt because people go, Corn. I go, Corn's the best band. If you don't like Corn, you don't like metal. I've told like metalheads that, and they just got like I told that to this guy had like face tattoos and shit, and like all over his body, and we were talking about music. It was at a bar, random guy that I'd never talked to again, probably, especially after I said what I said to him. We were talking about music, and I was like, he was like, well, what are your favorite bands? I was just like, well, uh, favorite metal bands are like Meshuggah, Dying Fetus, Bloodbath, and I was like, and the best metal band is Korn. And he was like, "What?" And I'm like, "Yeah, Korn is the best metal band." And he was like, "No." And I'm like, "Yeah, if you don't like metal," and I was like, "If you don't like Korn, you don't like metal, pal." And he just
you're a
was like,
jerk.
kind of mumbled a couple things, took a drink of his beer, and the next thing I know, I wasn't sitting next to him again. It was great.
You're a jerk. That's funny. I mean, you're not wrong. Just kidding. I mean, I think maybe I've said this before, but I saw a documentary or some shit where everyone would go, the bands would go to Total Request Live. They would be on the show. And then across the street in Times Square was a Tower Records.
Mhm.
And they used to stand on the second or third floor because you remember you could look out the window. They always looked out the window on that show, and all the kids would be standing out there. musicians could see when the album dropped, they could see people go from TRL after they featured the music, watch them go right across the street and buy out all the copies of the album right there.
Damn.
And I just like I remember being a part of that. I wasn't in New York City, but I remember going and buying all these CDs, um, thousands of fucking CDs. But it was kind of a cool time. I mean, MTV pushed all that music for them. That's all it was. They showed up loaded and just stood there with in a big fuzzy coat and a cowboy hat. My name is King. And the next thing you know, everyone's running across the street to go buy it. And he's just like, I'm just standing here, just watching, making money, like drunk as shit, just watching myself make money. And now doesn't exist.
Mhm.
Bands don't even really make a lot of money. The bands that are making money were the ones that were, most of them are the ones who were established before, I don't know, like 10, 20 years ago,
Yeah.
still like have their fan base. If they're a newer band, they're getting the only reason they're making any money is if they're getting pushed from behind by record labels, I mean, they're just a lot of that, but beyond that, it sounds like it's a real fucking struggle out there for bands.
Mhm.
Financially, you don't make the money that you made on your music anymore, Spotify pays you, like, nothing.
Yeah, very much at
So,
all.
I mean, not to get all sentimental, but when we saw music, they were killing it. They were making money. When you see bands now, they're not.
Yeah.
And to me, it's like, well, I go see a show, respect, man, thank you, because I don't doesn't sound like it's very
Yeah,
lucrative.
I mean, they gotta play a lot more dates, a lot more tours bigger probably, and,
Sell a shitload of merch. You
yeah,
really
they
have to
sell
crunch, yeah,
merch.
because you're not coming home and your manager's like, hey, you guys can take a year off, man. We sold a shitload of fucking CDs. They're
Mhm.
like, what's a CD? That's not gonna work. And vinyl's like basically $35 a record. So if you buy a double LP, it's $70. It's kind of getting out of fucking hand. So
Yeah,
it's like, I'm not gonna collect that hard,
yeah,
especially when I have to flip a record every 3 songs to hear the whole album that I can hear on Spotify in a regular 45 minutes while sitting on my ass. So, hmm, I
hmm.
just feel for bands right now. I'm like, "Damn it, dude, the arts are what gets me through this fucking shit of experience." And people they're struggling to, it's no wonder all the music's been sad the last 3 years. It's like, "Gee whiz." It's like, "We're playing on a low budget because we have no budget." Like, "Oh, gotcha." That sucks, man. Bummed out. It's like, "I wanna
Yeah.
go to shows." Like, "Yeah, it's $100." Like, "That's fair, I guess." I guess that's why, like, 2 headliners are touring. You noticed a lot of bands, like 3 big bands touring at once on one show? They're like, "This is how we're gonna make it work. We'll all ride in the same bus." I don't know.
Sure, yeah, I mean, I just went to a show where there was 2 big bands, you know,
Yeah.
who were a Mastodon and, and an up and coming band who is actually not a big band like them, but, like, pretty well known, especially in the metal community. But, I don't know, speaking of all this and music industry, talk about music?
Hell yeah, man.
Well, and it's kinda perfect because this band and this album particularly is talking about all that. It's talking about, well, basically this album of Searching for a Former Clarity is all about, because it's when they got signed to Warner Brothers. This
Yep.
album, they got signed and they became a big band, and they were basically a lot of the songs are about selling out and about the industry and how crooked it is, and you know,
Right. Exactly. So we're covering, like Alex said, we're covering Against Me's album, Searching for a Form of Clarity. That's what we listened to. That's what we came up with on the wheel last time we had an episode. We did an episode, and that's what we've listened to. Alex actually turned me on to these guys years ago, and we watched the movie, the documentary, if you will, about that part of their career. And I thought it was really cool. And like just like you said, if you listen to the album, there's a lot of that in there. The album is very much it kind of marries up with the show because it's they sing a lot about just what the world is and how fucked up things are, this, that, and the other thing. Um, I still think it's an awesome album. I really do. But the more I listen to it, the more it's just like it's like, well, that's their style anyway. Like they took that's all the music, even the newer music that she's putting out, even her solo stuff is in your face. Um and I like it. But the playing on this is really like I was listening to a lot of the newer shit and it's not that much different, but I just like how kind of like I don't
Yeah.
know. You know,
This
I'm
is
about to like
this is a
edgy.
bit more this is a bit more raw and a bit more
Yeah.
um
Thank you. Yep.
they had a different style where it's definitely punk, but it's like the music has like a different rhythm to it. It has a the drums have a like a fast like punk version of a country beat.
Wow.
Like if like a punk or folk had like a like it has a different beat to it typically, and they have that, but they made it faster and it turned it into punk music basically.
Mhm.
My what I get out of it, but yeah, I think what you're saying. It's like it's just they have it's a bit more raw sounding, you know.
Yeah.
And,
But it rocks. And then horns come in once in a while.
yeah.
And I like that. Just like, wait a minute. This is a horny song. Where'd this come from? A lot of there's a lot of layers to it. For as like as punk as it like it is, the musicianship is awesome. They really
Mhm.
the playing is great. And the lyrics are really in your face. Um, just like this is what this is what it is. In every song, it's like this is what it is. It's like, yep, absolutely. I love my I remember the lyrics, but I can never remember what titles go with the songs because sometimes I'm like, oh, okay, this song's about this, and then I read the title and I'm like, I'm not gonna remember that. Like that's not gonna no. But one of the ones I've always loved is when they talk about like the record industry and how they're like having all these meetings and they're telling them like, how long do you think this is gonna last?
Yeah.
Like they're giving the pitch. Like they're basically saying this is all the shit that all these record companies told us to get us to sign.
Yeah.
This is what it's like becoming a band, like becoming a major band. And
I think.
I personally haven't. Sorry. Go
Oh
ahead.
no, go for it. I was interrupting you.
I personally haven't had a lot heard a lot of songs where I mean there's some out there like another Cypress Hill song comes to mind, but still there's not a ton of songs where the band is like this is what it's really like. This is exactly how it is. This is how it goes from being fun to being a business where everyone's trying to get you drunk so you'll sign a fucking contract and think they're cool so they can move on to the next band and tell
Yep.
them the same bullshit they told us. And I'm just like, yeah, I love that. That's just like me telling jokes about how much it sucks to work for corporate America. It's like, yeah, that sucks. You still got to go to work tomorrow, asshole, but it does suck. I like that. This album is a whole lot of fun because it's a whole lot of that. But that particular song, I like a lot. I've listened to it like 7 times. Like, how
Yep.
long do you think it's really gonna last? And the way he sings in his rhythm, like it's fast, but then I don't. Yeah, it's just that fucking it gets me. Do you know the title?
I think it's how low. I think
Is it that?
it might not be that. I thought it was how low, but
How low do you think it's? Yeah.
well,
Anyway,
it might not be that. I don't know, but I know the song you're talking about, and it's a yeah. That's the they're
and
they're
then
talking about basically becoming getting signed to a huge record label, and basically selling out in a way.
I don't know. Yeah, it's hard. I'm telling you, brother, it's hard for me to remember which song goes with the lyrics because I think it is How Low. Let me see. I'm sorry, it's bothering me now. No, this is the one where is this one where he talks about waking up and getting I don't know, whatever. The songs are I can't remember the names of the songs, but I sure as shit can tell you like I have an emotional experience when I listen to some of them. And
Mhm.
that's why I like this album so much. And comparing it to like the newer stuff, I like some of the newer stuff, not the shit that's like in the top 5 for them. I don't like that so much. But on some of the newer albums, there really are some crunchy songs on there. I'm just like, okay, this still sounds like more rock to me, but like they still have that edge, I mean,
Right. Yeah, they still have it like, the singer still has the edge in her voice, and they still have the edge in their playing, but they do write, hits, you know.
Well, yeah, I mean, that's what comes with signing a fucking contract.
Mhm.
I mean, you got things you gotta do.
And
It's cleaner. Some of those songs are just really
yeah, it's
clean. It's
cleaner,
just like,
cleaner.
yeah,
Yeah.
the producer went in there and said, "Great, good song. I'm just gonna clean this up real quick, and then we're all gonna make money. Okay, go have lemonade. See you later." And then you put it
Yeah.
on the radio, and it's like, "I this isn't the song we left you with in the studio." Like, I just cleaned it for 17 hours. It's fine. Sounds like you, right? That's you.
That's you, right? Yeah.
Sorry, I
Um,
gotta go do the new Corn album. I'll be right back.
sorry.
So tell me your take on it. You're the one who turned me on to this whole thing.
Oh, they're a great band. They're a band I've liked for a really long time. I never got to see them live up until about 10, 11 years ago, something like that, maybe 10 years ago. Yeah, I'd say actually not 11, like 8 to 10 years ago, I first got to see them. And which sucks because people I know from back in Central Oregon, they all seen them a bunch of times. Friends
Mhm.
band, Leonard's Flask has played with them. Everyone that I knew, like back from back home, like saw them a bunch of times. They used to play in Bend all the time, and I just missed it. I was like working or some shit happened. I just never got to see them up until like about 8 or 10 years ago, and that's when they went. Like you said, I had a bit of a more cleaner sound, and they still fucking rule. They still had put on a great show. Um, yeah, I think it was when I saw them, they just put out the album White Crosses,
Mhm.
something like that. And that album has some good songs on it, but it still has that, you know, radio kind of sound, let's make
Right.
some money sound. um, but they still put on an awesome show. It was they had a lot of energy. There was a lot of yeah, there was a lot of just a lot of energy and like grit and rawness to their show. It's great. It was great. They're a great band. And this album is like was such a big album for me when they came when this album came out, because a lot of people I know back home, this song was on at every party I went to growing up. Like someone had a speaker and plugged their phone on, and then like, or had the record or the CD. This album was on all the time when I was hanging out with people. It got to a point where I was like, put on a different one, something else. I like it. It's just on all the time.
Yeah, it's a
And I think they have a song on this album that's kind of about that. It's about like, what is it? What song is it? Don't lose touch. Or no, searching for a former clarity. I think it's the last song.
right.
But kind of about that.
Love that song too.
Um, but yeah, it's a really good album. It brings back a lot of memories of kind of growing up, because it came out 2005, the year I graduated high school, 2005.
Oh, wow.
And
Right on. I thought
um
it came out when you showed it to me. Like, that was, like, fucking 10 years later.
oh yeah, no, this came out 2005. So I was 18.
Mhm.
Maybe just turning 19, who knows. But the, late teenage years, it was like this album was really important to me back then, because it still was punk and still raw, but you could tell it was starting to go clean. You had that. And sometimes there's a mix between corporate, shit,
Mhm.
and not, and it combined. Sometimes it makes has a perfect mix, and it works out really well. And that's what this is it was that. It was, you know, big radio, but like we got money now, and still, had
Right.
the sound of like being raw, like how they used to sound. And the singer, like they all the lyrics just about you know, about the music industry and how gross it can be, and then about touring all the time, about like get me out of the van, I hate all of you kind of thing,
Yeah, it's very real, and
and
I've
about
always been attracted to that.
yeah, like drink partying too much and doing coke and all that stuff. Like it just,
Right.
you know, it was a really important album to me at one point, and it still is really good, still great.
Yeah, it's
You know,
very like
almost 20 years later.
I mean, like here I am, 6 o'clock in the morning with a rolled up dollar bill in my
Yeah.
hand. Like never heard that on the country station. You know, like play that one on the fucking radio. Like
Right.
make some kids ask some questions. Like, why isn't it 100? Because they've been doing coke for a long time.
Long time, yeah. Because
They
yeah,
started with $100 bill, and then
yeah,
they toured
they had to get more coke.
it. Oh, Coke jokes about money are always funny to me. I don't know why. It's the
Yeah.
one punchline with Coke that always works. It's expensive. It goes right up your nose. But the four songs that I like to probably they're probably on everybody's top four list. But Violence,
Mhm.
How Low, Holy Shit, and Searching for a Former Clarity.
Hell yeah.
But
Yeah.
the album, honestly, the album doesn't really stop. There's a few on there where I'm kind of like, all right, I've heard this one too many times. Just because I've heard it too many times, not that it bothers me. If I had listened to it first time out of the box, I think I'd probably fall in love with it just like I did the first time I heard it out of the box.
Right.
But yeah, it's such a good album. I could see how it could be like, all right, I know these by heart. Like,
I know these are, yeah.
because it's you can sing to them too. Like that's the thing. Is like you're like, yeah, like I know these lyrics. Like these are, you know me. I always talk about being able to understand the lyrics. Is to me is like just half of. That's a whole half of the album right there. You know,
Yeah.
if you can understand and connect with the lyrics, it's got the makings for a great record. But I keep saying though, man, the lyrics are strong. You can really listen to them, but the musical performance is also really good, in my opinion. The playing is great. A lot of varied sounds. I like it. It's an awesome
Mhm.
fucking record.
What I like about them is they have albums that like make a full circle, like
Hmm.
they have Searching for a Former Clarity, and then like 6 or 7 years later they put out an album called Total Clarity.
Yeah,
They
I
have
can
an
see.
album they have an album called As an Internal Cowboy, and then they have an album that they put out like 6 years after that called The Original Cowboy. And all four of those albums that I just mentioned have like similar looking album covers,
Mhm.
especially the two that are to the Cowboy
Right.
album. They're basically the same, just like printed different.
Hmm.
I don't know. There's something that's kind of cool about it. It's like in comedy when you do a callback. It's kind of like that. How you could say the same thing and you say the same punchline or joke and it's funny again. It's kind of like that. It brings it right back around.
Right. And to that point, I think that's why you introduced me to this band is because of the one song. What's the name where he talks about being a comedian? He's
Oh,
like, I get on stage and I repeat the same thing again and again. Like,
yeah, I think that's off of this
it's
album.
on this album. I remember. I think that's why. I think that's the reason you showed me this band. You're like, dude, listen to this song. It's he's relating to being a comic,
No.
and it went from there. But I don't know, just like where they're coming from. They just seem very down to earth, very realistic. Obviously, she's gone through a ton of changes and has sung about them the whole time. And
Hmm.
when you do things like that, you put yourself out there, and then you have this kind of music to back it up. It's just like that's hardcore. It's really hard to like. I don't know. It's hard to give anybody shit about that when a band sounds this good and like it's just like, yeah, motherfucker, this is what I've done with my life, and I'm right here in your face singing about it. Still, I respect that. I have a lot of respect for that.
Well, I mean, yeah, we'll talk about that. It's true, like what you said. They like she's been singing about it the whole time, even when they identified as male when they were Tom Gable.
Right.
Like he was still like on this album,
You
like
mentioned they
c-
talk right wearing
confessing
women's clothes. Yeah.
confessing childhood secrets about dressing up in women's clothes. You know, so she was singing about it before she transitioned.
That's pretty
And
cool.
Yeah, it is really cool
Like
to
the
me.
longer, like the bigger story, like, you know, now you can look back and be like 20 years of music and you're like, whoa, like they were talking about it then, didn't come out about it, just started mentioning it, and then it built to what it is now. And her name's Laura. Am I wrong?
No, yeah, you're right.
Thanks,
Yeah,
man. I was like, fuck. Right. So after
Lord
all that,
being
you're like,
grateful.
if you listen to all that music, you're like, wow, this transition really happened. And it was a process of all this time.
Mhm.
And it's right there. It's pretty rad.
Well, I mean, and they are still like in your face, and she is still in your face about the like being trans and stuff because they have an album in 2014 called Transgender Dysmorphia Blues.
I heard it.
You heard it? And on the front of the album has like a cutout. It's like it looks like if someone's tit was cut out of their body, pulled out like a square, and it's like sitting like an iceberg, and there's like a tit and a nipple on it. Have you seen it? Like
No.
you like if you just go to Spotify or iTunes and you look up, you type in "Against Me" and you go to their albums, it's there. Transgender dysmorphia blues.
Oh, there it is.
Yeah,
Yep.
and
Shit.
it's like what you said. She's in your face about it, and she's just like, yeah. Like the whole thing is they're punk rock through and through. No matter if they sound a little bit softer or poppier, it's still like the name of the album is this album, not the one we're talking about, but transgender dysmorphia blues, and then has a tit on it.
Right.
So
Just like you're committed and you go all in. You know
mhm.
what I mean? Like she put all of her chips on the table. Is like, I'm singing about this and it's going to progressively continue in that direction. And the timing is pretty damn good. I mean, it can't ever be perfect timing, but for the way it worked, I mean, that's a huge movement right now, and she's right at the forefront of it, and she's touring solo.
Oh
Um,
yeah,
doesn't give
and
a fuck.
she came out transgender kind of before people were still weren't as accepting of it.
Oh, a rocky road for sure, right? And then never mind like whatever flack they got from the industry, whatever they've. I don't know if there was any problems in the band. Like, that changes everything. It's one thing just to go through a change like that in your personal life,
Yeah,
just your
for sure.
personal life. But if your personal life is almost all public because you're a fucking famous musician, that couldn't have been easy. And so now, she's on the other side, if you will, and she's like, this is everything I've gone through, and I still ain't, I don't give a fuck. I made it, and I'm still singing about it. I'm not being quiet about it. Like, shouldn't be. Fucking hey, man, own it up. This is what you did. That's awesome. That's your decision, and you stick behind it. That's the one thing. Like, I don't give a shit what you do in this world, honestly, as long as you're not hurting other people. It's not easy to make a tough decision, but when you stand by it, I respect the fuck out of it because
Mhm.
you're confident in what you've done. So why wouldn't I be? It's your decision. So that's how it's awesome. Like that's how it should be. I'm not here to give anybody any shit. The world's hard enough. Fuck that. And if you're gonna
Yeah,
have a band and be like, hey, I knew this was coming one way or the other, but we signed a contract and we stuck with it, and here we are, and here I am. I love that.
yeah,
Fucking hey. That's what it should be. Fuck norms. I'm tired of this shit. So good. Rock on. I was happy to listen to some of the newer stuff and be like, huh, it doesn't stop. She's an antenna. It keeps coming to her. She keeps generating thoughts. She keeps making music. And
yeah,
that's important. Absolutely. That was really cool, man. But that
yeah.
album took me back. That album was like, this is appropriate right before I moved to Oregon because I remember Alex playing this in his fucking Ford Taurus or some shit. And just being like, this is great. Like, yeah, it is fucking great. So yeah, it took me back. It was appropriate. It was good timing.
Yeah. No, it's a great album. They're a great band. They still put out good music. It's fun. I would give this album a 9.5 out of 10. Is that what you're
Fucking
gonna say?
asshole. That's what I. That's what I have.
You notice why I always try to do it first? I always try to go and I give it. It's because I'm like, we're probably gonna have the same number. So
And it's no shit. I've been thinking about it for 30 minutes now. I'm like, it's a 9.5. Well, that's what it is. I'm not going to change my mind. So we're in agreement once again. Alex and I usually are. We have a lot of similar music taste. Half the shit he's turned me on to, or I've thrown a few his way. So it's no surprise that we both enjoy this album. But yeah, good suggestion, dude.
Yeah, great band.
Absolutely. So just to reiterate, we were talking about Against Me. That album is Searching for a Form of Clarity. If you didn't hear it, seriously, if you heard, if you're intrigued, check it out. Some great tunes on there. Just see what you think.
Yeah, absolutely. And now let's try to get some more good music going.
That's
And
right.
and I think again I have to hold the wheel because God's trying to pee on me again.
That's right. I'll just make a service announcement while he gets the wheel ready. Not that a whole bunch of you have been knocking on our door wondering where the next episode was or anything, but things are a little sporadic right now and erratic because I'm in the process of moving. So we missed an episode last week. We're definitely banging. This is the last one out I'll be doing in Pennsylvania, as far as I know. So when you see us again, we'll both be in the same state, which will be weird, kind of, because I still won't be able to hold his hand because we'll be separated. So not excited about that. But no, in all seriousness, we're not sure when the next episode will come out, but we will get another episode up as quick as we can. And I'm sure there'll be some travel stories. So tune in for that shit. And now he's got the wheel set up. Ta-da!
Damn right.
All right. So I really hope we don't land on number one because I don't have time to watch a fucking movie. But Big Lebowski, the movie, is in the number one spot. I just want to say I hope that we land on something I want to listen to for the next 3 weeks.
Yeah.
All right. Number two is Fever Ray, Radical Romantics. That's her newest album. Number three, it's up to Alex if we land on that one. Number four is Aretha Franklin, her live album, Amazing Grace. Number five is Mudhoney's newest album, Plastic Eternity. Number six is country artist James Carruthers with his album Relapse. Number seven, I'll have to pull something out of my hat. Number eight is Larry and His Flask by the Lamplight. Number nine is Louis C.K., his album Sorry. And number 10 is David Bowie's album Black Star.
Right. Here we go, mama. 5.
Mudhoney, Plastic Eternity.
You know, when you were reading them off, I was kind of like secretly hoping we would land on Mudhoney, only because I like them. That's about it.
I got to be honest with you. I had a thought too, but then I also had a thought that we were going to land on that band. I'm honest, but then I thought to myself, Alex and we should stop hanging out. This is fucking stupid. I'm fucking tired of this shit, man. We keep catching up on everything. Whatever. Who gives a fuck anyway? Nobody. It's really weird. I did have that thought though. I was like, it'd be cool if we landed on this one. I don't know this album, and I could listen. I could listen to it on the road. So now, wishes came true. So we will be listening to Mudhoney's newest album, Plastic Eternity. If you don't know Mudhoney, most people don't, but they did actually the 90s. Yep, 90s. So you might take it back, even though it's a brand new album. So check them out, and we'll talk about it when we come back on the next episode.
That's right.
No idea when that will be, so keep an eye out.
A couple of weeks, Tony's got to get situated. We'll do
that's right. I'm ordering internet right after this phone call, so we should be all right.
If you would like to suggest a album of a band, please a whole album and or a movie. Also, we got a movie on the wheel. You could on YouTube on the most recent episode go to the comment section and please leave your suggestions, or you could go to Instagram titfoo69 and do the same in the direct messages and just message us. That being said, thanks for watching and listening, and we'll talk to you later.
Hell yeah. Thank you. See you on the next episode. Bye. Can you tell me how to get to the West